got it. Okay. I wanted to share something different. All right. So this is what I wanted to share. All right. Okay, so then we're looking at question number 4. The broad substance of the Cadbury's report of 1992 emphasized that an approach based on compliance with a voluntary code coupled with disclosure will prove more effective than a statutory code. With reference to the above statement, explain 4 recommendations in this report which have been adopted by public companies. All right. So, of course, in this case here, this Cadbury report is all about making this board of hours effective. All right. That most companies collapse simply because the head is rotten. All right. So, in this case here, Cadbury report basically wanted to cure problems that come to the company right away from the board being ineffective. Most companies collapse because the boards are what here ineffective. So in this case, then the Cadbury report came and gave us a few recommendations here. Like the first one is on board composition and the aspect of this board being independent. Being independent means what here? Of course, having more directors being independent as opposed to executive directors here. The Cadbury report recommended that board should have a balanced composition with a majority of independent directors. This ensures effective oversight and reduces the influence of any particular group. Many public companies have adopted this recommendation to enhance what here? Corporate governance, to enhance corporate governance. Now, at the end of the day, what we would want is to have a situation which will make these directors, be accountable. Remember what is happening today, you may get a situation where if, for example, we are, say, 10 directors, it's very, very easy for us to have these 10 directors who are working, for example, in this company, because of the greedy motive, because of the greedy concept here. These guys here can easily collude and they say, hey, let's just enrich ourselves. So to be able to counter that, then oversight is very, very important. And that is why in this case here, Cadbury report looked at this very important, gave us this very important recommendation that at the board level, it will be very important for us to have independent directors being more than executive directors. So if you have a board of, for example, 10 directors, which is quite awkward because the number of directors here should be uneven, should be odd. But assuming in this case here they were 10, then 5 should be executive, 5 should be what here? Non-executive. We'll talk of balanced. But in most cases, there'll be an odd number. So assuming there are 11, then 6 must be independent, and then 5 should be what here now? Executive. Remember, executive directors are those directors in the company who are overseeing the day-to-day operations of the company. But independent, these are guys that we are getting from out there. Others are very, very qualified. In this case here, for example, individuals who have been running most of these big parastatals, or if it's in the public sector, or for example, most of these big listed companies, all right? And we'd want to tap onto their experience. So they only come to our company not to help us in running the day-to-day. They only come to our company for purposes of board meetings, to share those experiences that they have. And of course, as they share those experiences, they are able to steer our agenda towards what your prosperity. They're able to come and tell these executive directors that, you know what, we tried this particular strategy in our company and it worked like this. So they are able to provide what we call oversight. Cadbury report is about corporate governance. All right. The second recommendation audit committees. If you're here, and of course, you're running a company that has got a homogeneous board, that all the board members have to sit together at the same time. No, of course, if it is one tier board, we expect that to happen. But at the end of the day, within these board members, some of them appoint like 3. And these 3 should be able to constitute an audit committee, because audit committee is a very, very important organ of the board. It is the one that will be able to, for example, offer whistleblowing opportunities within the firm. It is the one, for example, that will be able to oversee one of these important pillars of corporate governance, which is what here, the concept of scrutiny, the concept of accountability, the concept of them being audited, the company being audited, having external audit, having, in this case here, internal audit. So we talk over audit committees. This is a key recommendation. We need audit committees within boards. The report emphasized the establishment of the audit committee comprising non-executive directors to oversee financial reporting and internal controls. Public companies commonly incorporate audit committees as a best practice for financial transparency and accountability. We have another board that, or other committee which was recommended, which is the remuneration committee. Now, remember, as we said, these executive directors may want to pay themselves quite huge pack sites, huge salaries, huge allowances. To curb that appetite, it's very important for us to have a remuneration committee that is able to come up with, for example, the salary structure of everybody, especially the executive committee. So we have remuneration committees. Cadbury recommended the formation of remuneration committees to determine executive pay and ensure fairness. Public companies often establish such committees to align executive compensation with performance and the shareholder interest. Ladies and gentlemen, it will be very important for us to ensure that the payment within the company is well aligned with performance. We should be able to have what we call key performance indicators. And of course, this will be the role of the remuneration committee to see, who directors and these other people are really meeting the KPIs, and then they should be remunerated in a very fair way. So Cadbury report. Recommendation number 4, disclosure and transparency. The Cadbury report stressed the importance of transparency through effective disclosure. Public companies have embraced this recommendation by providing detailed information in annual reports, ensuring stakeholders have access to relevant information about the company's governance practices. So, ladies and gentlemen, it will be very important to adopt this recommendation in our companies as a way of taking corporate governance a notch higher. We have to be transparent in whatever that we are doing. And for us to be transparent, we must give full disclosure. Giving full disclosure means what here as directors? This means that we provide what we call annual reports. And these annual reports, of course, they have to be in the form of integrated reports, where we give sustainability reports on top of the financial reports. So sustainability reports, of course, means what here that the business model is sustainable in the long term. This business is going to be a going concern. So when you provide this disclosure annual report, you must really give a detailed report where you come and give us these 4 types of financial statements, right? We have in this case here what we call an income statement. You must provide that to us, showing us the performance of the company. You must give us a balance sheet, which nowadays we call the statement of financial position. Statement of financial position. You must give us a statement of changes in equity. Statement of changes in what? In equity. Then number 4, you must give us what we call the cash flow statement. To accompany those 4 sets of accounts, we need the notes to the accounts where you are disclosing everything. This came as a result of what year? The Cadbury's 1992 report on corporate governance. This April 2023 question also required us to examine 5 ways of ensuring effective board succession. Effective board succession. So how do we ensure that we are able to hand over our board responsibilities to this new generation coming up? So in this case here, we'll need what we call succession planning. Develop and implement a robust succession planning process that identifies potential candidates within and outside the organization. This ensures a continuous pipeline of skilled individuals for key leadership roles. So under succession planning, ladies and gentlemen, please, even for example, at RCM Online College, it's not lost on me that I'm also becoming old. It's not lost on me that as we continue, it will be very important for us to have a newer blood taking over. So then what are we doing with the time as we become, of course, busy and busy? We are using the concept of shadowing. So at times, for example, you are on leave, you come and say that this individual will be able to take over this CEO role, even for a month. At times, even when you are in the office, have that role of yours, in this case, you're being played by someone else. And let it be known that this guy now will be the CEO for some time. Anyway, in this case here, for us to manage board succession successfully, we need to plan for the same. Just like how we tell people to write their wills, all right? So it'll be very important for us to see, within the group, if it's a Equity Bank, within the group, should James Mwangi go today, who will be able to take over his CEO role? So the moment you identify, for example, it's Poly Kapigade, you start in this case here preparing, give these guys senior roles at the management, all right? Start in this case here, showing them some of these things quite well in advance, all right? Try in this case here to scout for people outside there. Number two, we need leadership development programs here. Implement leadership development programs to groom high potential employees for leadership positions. This includes providing training, mentoring, and exposure to different aspects of what here the business. So start training people. The moment you scout and say that these guys are good enough, please let them enter into management development programs. Identify mentors within the organization to ensure that they grow. Diversity in recruitment. Ensure diversity in the recruitment process to bring a variety of skills and perspectives to the board. A diverse pool of candidates enhances the board's ability to adapt to changing business environments. So when we talk about succession planning, other teams to come and take after us, the very best way also of ensuring that you're taking care of this, you're taking care of succession planning, is to encourage diversity in your recruitment. Don't, for example, employ like just gentlemen alone. Don't employ people of the same age. Would want, at the end of the day, which is at the board level, would want to have some people, of course, are young, others are old, because of these natural attrition issues. As we exit the stage, and in the board, in this case here, we have quite a dynamic board here. We have got, in this case here, quite a diverse board. Then these young men can easily step up and take up the show. And of course, in this case, even improve the company's performance. So diversity in terms of what here, diversity in terms of professional skills. Bring in women, like now Kenya, this is a big thing, incorporation of women into leadership roles, all right? So diversity in recruitment can really ensure that you will be able to prepare this succession concept quite well. Then we have here regular board evaluations. Conduct regular board evaluations of the board's performance to identify areas of improvement and the potential gaps in skills. This evaluation informs succession planning process and helps address any weaknesses in board composition. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we'll have most of these boards having one or two individuals who are so strong, overpowering the others. All right? That is the worst mistake you can ever do as a chairman or a corporate secretary of a company. And ensure that we are able to rise up to the occasion and I mean dance together as directors. And how do we do this? I mean, if it's a company where we have one-man show or even two of them just running the board, perhaps there could be a situation where these other people do not even have enough qualifications, good experiences. So in this case here, do a boardroom evaluation to identify areas of weaknesses. And of course, the moment you know that these guys are weak, try to uplift them. When you uplift them, once you have so many of these directors being good at their job, should one of us in this case here die, then their positions will easily be filled. Talent identification and external networking. Actively identify and network with potential external candidates who bring unique skills and experiences. This proactive approach ensures that the board has access to a wide talent pool when considering what year succession. So don't, in this case here, lock up yourself as an organization and think that you're the best. No. I mean, get some of these board meetings, for example, done by professionals from outside. These board meetings, I mean, like trainings here. Hire, for example, some of us to come and train. Take even these board directors here to external places if your company can afford, so that they get to mingle. I have sections, for example, where in your boardroom agenda, where you bring in people from outside to come and give speeches. All right. It doesn't even have to be on the day-to-day operations here. I mean, at the end of the day, we need to be networking. It is while we are networking, where we are bringing, in this case here, for example, professionals from outside there to come and give talks within our companies, within our boards, that we shall be able to say, hey, this Dr. Aura seems to be a very knowledgeable person. So in the future, we should be able to do what here? We should be able to bring him as a non-executive director. Then they wanted us in C to discuss 3 types of corporate culture, where we have innovative culture, ethical culture, and a collaborative culture there. So innovative culture, as we said, I know these questions of CS are very repetitive. Of course, when we are innovative, we are agile, we are flexible, we are adaptive, we are able to adapt to changes in the environment. An innovative culture encourages creativity, experimentation, and risk-taking. Organizations with an innovative culture prioritize continuous improvement, adaptability, and a willingness to explore new ideas to stay competitive. The number 2, we have what they're calling ethical culture. Ethical culture emphasizes integrity, honesty, and the ethical behavior in all organizational activities. Companies with a strong ethical culture prioritize compliance with the laws and regulations, promoting trust among stakeholders. So ethical culture, let's be good, all right? And remember, as we said in our previous classes, we have to set the right tone at the top. It is we directors, if we seem to be good, if you're doing good things in the organization, higher chances are these other employees will follow cue. But if we are corrupt, especially the chairman, the directors are corrupt, everybody within the organization here will be will be corrupt. So when we are pursuing excellence in terms of our deeds, then the kind of culture we are inculcating in between here is what we call ethical culture of ethics, good deeds. Then we have collaborative culture. A collaborative culture values teamwork. We are working together as a team, open communication and cooperation among employees. This type of culture fosters a sense of community, encourages knowledge sharing at the board level, and supports collective problem solving. So don't forget this: innovative culture, ethical culture, and the teamwork culture. Teamwork culture is a collaborative culture. If you allow me, I'll go to question number 5. Describe 3 standards of good corporate governance as stipulated by the Capital Markets Authority Code or its equivalent. Same thing that we're discussing about here. Same things. These are papers that you shall be able to pass very well. All right. So what does the CMA recommend? Number one, board independence. That's like the Cadbury's report. They've borrowed a lot from the Cadbury's report. So we have number one, board independence. The CMA code typically emphasizes the board importance of a balanced board with a majority of independent directors. This standard ensures that the board can provide effective oversight without undue influence from management. So the board independence, like in our country here, would want a situation where the parliament, for example, is independent, where they're not getting, their decision-making process is not being infiltrated from outside here. It's not being influenced by outside the forces. Then according to Capital Markets Authority, we have the concept of what here financial reporting and transparency. Remember, the question is about describe 3 standards of good corporate governance as stipulated by capital markets. So we need to set a standard in form of what here financial reporting and transparency. Good corporate governance requires accurate and transparent financial reporting. Companies are expected to comply with accounting standards, disclose relevant financial information, and provide clear insight into the company's financial health. Then, of course, CMA is big in terms of protection of the rights of all stakeholders. All stakeholders. Because corporate governance, from the CMA's eyes, they would want a situation where the company's sustainability will not be in doubt, that the company's going concern will be, in this case here, cemented. And one of the ways of killing going concern is, for example, where we have directors not respecting shareholders, where we have, in this case here, for example, directors who, upon being appointed, they're supposed to be the agents of who? Of the shareholders. But upon being appointed, these now guys are doing their own thing. They're making their own decisions about what here, like how much is the remuneration, all right? The agency theory. They forget that they're supposed to be what here? Agents. And that is why in this case here in CMA, we have this shareholder rights and we have to engage. Just like how we do the public participation. The CMA code emphasizes the protection of shareholder rights and encourages companies to actively engage with their shareholders. This includes ensuring equitable treatment of shareholders and facilitating communication channels for effective shareholder engagement. And that is why CMA always has it mandatory for every organization which is listed to have an AGM, to have an AGM. Now, from there, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, we are told to come here on part B and determine 4 situations where avoidance would be more suited method to manage a conflict. Remember, whenever we have a conflict, in this spirit of open communication, it will be very, very nice for us to confront this conflict and square out our issues. But there are issues, you as a chairman, there are issues if you pick them up, you're going to derail your agenda. You're going to derail the company's agenda. So determine 4 situations where avoidance would be the most suited method to manage a conflict. So number 1, if these conflicts are very personal conflicts. If a conflict arises due to personal differences or interpersonal issues that do not directly impact work, avoidance may be suitable to prevent escalation and maintain a harmonious working environment. Low priority issues. Remember, at the board level, we want to focus on materiality. We want to focus on material issues. So if this item is really of low value, low priority, and it happens to be a point of conflict, then we are better off, in this case here, running away out of it. When a conflict involves a low priority or trivial matter that does not significantly affect organizational goals, avoiding unnecessary confrontation may be a practical approach to conserve time and energy. Low priority issues, trivial matters. In this case, they should really not make us sweat out. Temporary disputes. In situations where conflicts are expected to be temporary and may resolve on their own, avoidance can be a practical strategy to allow time for emotions to cool down and for individuals to reassess the situation. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, time heals. Time heals. There are things in these cases that happen even at family level, husband and wife. And I mean, at times you say, hey, let's just try to be quiet a little bit. And those things are normally, they fizzle out with the time. So the same case in this case, if you realize as a chairman that this dispute here could be really temporal, remember how this enmity, friendship within the boards in this case here arise. They are enemies today, tomorrow they are friends. If they are temporary disputes, don't be making reference to them often, no. You would rather, in this case here, avoid such issues, and then, of course, they cool down as you progress. All right. So what if it's something that you really lack control over? If it is something that you can't control, perhaps it is something that may even involve outside authorities. Maybe it's a criminal offense directors have committed here. If you know it's beyond your control, don't put your nose onto it so much. When a conflict arises over factors beyond an individual's or organizational control, such as external market conditions or uncontrollable events, avoidance may be chosen as there might be limited options for resolution. So if you allow me, then I'll be able to go. I've finished question 5. I've finished question number 4. So then I'm going back. I'll be able to tackle now question number what here? Question number 3. All right. So question number 3, it's here. A, highlight 4 guidelines for creating an effective board meeting agenda. You as a company secretary, this is your area really. Because of course the chairman will tell you that, hey, I've circulated this to the board directors and board directors are recommending this and this and this, but those agenda may not be effective. There'll be a lot of repetitions there. So then you'll have to get that raw document, work through it, and ensure that those agendas are really organized in a way that the board agenda will be effective. Running of the board will be great. Highlight 4 guidelines for creating an effective board agenda. Number 1, prioritize key topics. So even in the company, of course, you know the hot potato topics. Those are the topics in this case that you do what here you would want people to focus on. So ensure that the agenda prioritizes critical topics that require board attention. Focus on strategic matters, financial updates, and the pressing issues affecting the organization. If you would want, in this case here, your board meeting agenda to be effective, there is what we call time allocation. Each agenda needs to be time allotted. There are those agenda that you would need more time and the other agenda that would need less time. So you as a company secretary, having stayed with these directors for a long time, you know those issues that are very emotive, which may need lots and tons of time. And you know that this one, so you have to think through and provide, in this case here, the time slots. And those time slots must be communicated to the directors. Tell these directors that we have this agenda as members of parliament. We have this agenda. We have affordable housing. We know that affordable housing is quite contentious. We shall give it a whole hour. You must address the time issues up front before you start any discussions. So time allocation, allocate appropriate time for each agenda to prevent meetings from running over schedule. This helps maintain focus and ensures the discussions are thorough but time efficient. Include reports and updates. Incorporate relevant reports and updates from committees, executives, or relevant stakeholders. This keeps board members informed about the company's performance and the key developments. Ladies and gentlemen, companies that work without a CS miss out on a big thing. You know, CS will bring a lot of organization to boardroom discussions. If I attend a meeting like this, like I've attended several, I'm able to tell that these guys don't have a CS from the word go. And if they have a CS, then this yes is not really up to the task. Because you see, like I've attended these boards, for example, at ISPAC, etc., where I happen to be a committee member. I mean, guys over there are very organized. Guys, in this case, who are secretaries there, they're no joke. Because when they provide an agenda, they've said agenda number 1 is about, for example, financial performance. Straight away, you'll get so many articles being circulated around. If it is, for example, income statements, etc., I mean, very well organized and very well summarized. These guys will come and tell us, for example, apart from you guys, we have another committee called the Audit Committee, which was able to sit down and deliberate on this issue. And these were their findings. They are circulated there in a very well organized way with the highlights, So if you'd want, in this case here, the discussion, deliberations on your board agendas to be very effective, then ensure that you include reports and updates from various committees. Strategic focus, align the agenda with the organization's strategic goals. And ensure that discussions and decisions contribute to the long-term success of the company, fostering a strategic focus during board meetings. So strategic focus. We shall not be this kind of directors where our agenda is basically hinged on very trivial matters. At times, in this case, I attend some other meetings where you hear people talking about personal issues most of the times. We need to look at the goal. Where do we want to be as a RCM college in the next 5 years? Would want to be, I mean, a force of a record here in the entire East Africa. All right. Then how do we reach there? What kind of marketing initiatives do we put down here? Those are the kind of things we would want to discuss. Explain 5 strategies to reduce negative organizational politics. Negative organizational politics. I work for a Swedish organization. These guys hate negative politics. So I normally laugh at times, because when you get like new employees who are coming on the board, you'll get like one employee coming to the ones who have not understood the Swedish culture. They'll come and in this case, they start bad mouthing their colleagues. So for example, if they do an email, trying in this case to say that this colleague never did this and never did that and that. Swedish culture is about transparency. That person on his response, he will copy this person you are speaking negative about right away. At the moment now, you know that this is the culture of this organization, then people will not be, be negative about each other. They know that those, people bring this negative politics in a company, they are not very, very many. There are very few people. And the moment in this case you are able to chop them from their bad habits, then automatically we shall be able to have politics is good. It's good to have negative politics, but overall balance, the positive should be more. So promote transparency. Foster a culture of openness and transparency by providing clear communication about organizational decisions, policies, and changes. When information is readily available, there is less room for speculation and negative politics. Establish clear policies, develop and enforce clear organizational policies that discourage unethical behavior and negative politics. Clearly define the guidelines, create a framework for acceptable conduct, and reduce the likelihood of harmful politics tactics. Encourage teamwork. Take your people, in this case to Mombasa, to engage in some kind of bonding events. So encourage collaboration, promote a collaborative culture where employees work together towards common goals. Encourage teamwork, cross-functional projects, and shared responsibilities to minimize individualistic and political behaviors. Fair reward systems. Implement, of course, reward systems that are well aligned with the KPIs. If it's promotions, please promote people based on merit and their contributions here to the firm. Implement fair and transparent reward systems that recognize and reward employees based on merit and contribution. An equitable system reduces the likelihood of political maneuvering to gain favors. Conflict resolution mechanisms. Establish effective mechanisms for resolving conflict within the organization. encourage open communication, and provide avenues for employees to address concerns, reducing the need for negative politics as a means of expressing discontent. If you allow me, I'll be able to go to part C. Analyze 6 benefits of board diversity with regard to academic qualifications, technical expertise, relevant industry knowledge, experience, nationality, age, race, and gender. Board diversity, just like how we are talking about diversity in Kenya, bringing more women on the decision-making table. So then what are the key benefits? I told you, these are papers I've taught severally. I don't need so many sessions in this case here with you to pass this paper. No, these are papers that I know is very repetitive. Same things. The moment you do like say 4 past papers, you are sorted out. And of course, don't ignore the notes which are given to you on the learning management system. So enhanced decision making is one of the benefits of diversity. We have lawyers, we have engineers. We know diversity is about different skill set. When you put all these people together, then the decision making, of course, will be enhanced. Diverse boards bring a variety of perspectives, leading to a more well-rounded and informed decision making. Different academic backgrounds, technical expertise, and the industry knowledge contribute to comprehensive analysis of complex issues. Let's not be making decisions in an ad hoc manner. Let's be making decisions which are well built on facts, on data. And of course, for us to be able to get this good foundation, correct picture, then we would need various types of individuals to sit at the board. This thing of having like a board of all accountants, a board of all lawyers, it's very, very catastrophic. That we have a board of classmates. Classmates, you've been discussing the same things from the day you joined the Form 1. The same, what tells you that you'll be able to discuss very meaningful, maybe in a very short span, yes, that will work, but it reaches a time where you have to bring people from outside. People in this case here with different experiences, different nationalities, different gender, put on the table people who are disabled. Like there are some counties I normally look around and they say, hey, I wish this county is new. They would have taken, in this case here, women for governors, especially these really drought-struck areas, because it is women who understand the problems of drought more than as men. They know the extent that they have to go through in terms of troubling themselves to be able to get water. All right. So if those women were in charge there, then they'll be able to go sinking like boreholes and ensuring that they alleviate poverty in those particular areas here. So diversity. I mean, truth be told, ladies and gentlemen, we have had men in our leadership positions for so long. We've been there. I'm a man, we've been there. But with the kind of problems that we have, it's high time we think about what here diversifying our board or leadership composition. So improved problem solving, of course, if it's diverse. Board diversity fosters creative problem solving by incorporating various viewpoints and approaches. Diverse experience and expertise contribute to more innovative solutions to organizational challenges. Broader skill set. A diverse board brings a broader range of skills and competencies. This includes mix of technical, managerial, and leadership skills that can collectively address a wider spectrum of organizational needs. Enhanced corporate reputation. Remember, like when you're doing tenders, there are companies that can only give you business when they see that your board is diverse. That's why we have to say that we have Vivid Saura and Company certified public accountants. I run an auditing firm. So there are some companies that would want to see that you guys have got 30 employees. Out of the 30 employees, how many are women? Do you have some members in the team, for example, who are disabled? All right. So enhanced corporate reputation. Boards that reflect diversity in nationality, age, race, and gender often enhance the corporate reputation. Stakeholders appreciate organizations that prioritize inclusivity, leading to positive perceptions and increased what-year trust. Effective risk management. Diverse boards are better equipped to identify and address risks effectively. Different perspectives enable a more thorough evaluation of potential risks, ensuring that the organization is well prepared for what-year uncertainties. Better understanding of market dynamics, because we will get some of us who really are very good in knowing market dynamics. Like there are boards that I've attended, and you get that, this director is normally very quiet. But when it comes to, for example, some particular discussions like how do we improve our sales, now they become vocal. They become vocal. You can imagine if we never had those kind of now directors in the company. Ladies and gentlemen, it's wrong for us to ensure the directors are only family members. They're only friends. No. Would want to reach a situation where we have thick skin, where we are incorporating directors from outside, and when they even come and tell us that, hey, you guys, there are issues here, you are wrong here. Hey, you CEO, as a gentleman, whoever, here we can see you have messed. We should be able to have a thick skin to allow, this kind of critique and the feedback systems here to help the company. So better understanding of market dynamics, diversity in age, race, and gender can provide insights into diverse consumer markets. Directors with varied backgrounds are more attuned to changing market dynamics, helping the organization adapt to diverse customer needs. The only point they forgot here is the one that tells us what here, that when we go for these diverse boards, we are also working on succession plan. Succession planning, very, very important. So that is the end of question number 3. So I'll do the last one because I have another class at 8 p.m. I'll do the last one. I normally endeavor to finish one paper in one lesson, but I ensure that the question that is left, I'll be able to tackle it first thing when I come in our next session. Question number 2, my last for today. Explain 3 merits of the one-tier board model. One-tier board model. You know, we have got 2-tier and 1-tier board model. So if you remember 1-tier board model, here basically we have all of us seated together, one room, we call for a board meeting. All of us in this case will be able to attend that one board meeting. When it's 2-tier board meetings, of course, we shall have, for example, if you are 11 of us or 10 of us, we have, for example, the supervisory board and we have a management board, and we happen to be having different sittings, different chairmen. All right. But 1-tier, in this case here, we're going to have the supervisory and the management directors sitting together. Independent and executive directors seated together to make decisions here. So simplified structure is one advantage. The 1-tier board model simplifies the corporate governance structure by having a single board that includes both executive and non-executive directors. This simplicity can enhance decision-making efficiency and clarity of roles. Number 2, enhanced communication. In the 1-tier model, communication between executive and non-executive directors is direct and immediate. This facilitates better coordination, transparency, and understanding of the company's strategic goals. Streamlined decision-making. The 1-tier board model streamlines the decision-making process as both executive and non-executive directors are involved in collective decision-making. This can lead to quicker and more agile responses to business challenges. So, ladies and gentlemen, please remember, when it is 2-tier, for example, in our national decision-making model, where we have, in this case, the lower house and the upper house, assuming the lower house is the normal parliament, and then we have the upper house is the Senate. So, for example, like right now, this concept of affordable housing has been dealt with at National Assembly. All right, has been dealt with at National Assembly level. So those guys have gone through it. Now it is at the Senate. You can imagine how this is now two-tier. The decision-making process becomes much longer. If it is a one tier, of course, we know that also these two tiers got its own advantages, but the one tier, ladies and gentlemen, of course, decision-making will be very, very fast. We are seated here together. We are solving our issues here together. It's one go, not two, only one go. You're not going to have like two different discussions where we have this approving and then the other body disapproving. No, disapproving. So one tier, of course, has got major advantages, but at the end of it all, the one that I would want you guys to remember is that it leads to quicker decision making, and as such, we are able to respond to market dynamics quite fast. That is what we call an agile organization, agility. All right. And then part B of this question, they want us to describe 3 stages in the evolution of boards according to Ramcharan. Describe 3 stages in the evolution of boards according to Ramcharan, 6 marks. So stage 1, we just have an operational board. In the initial stage, boards primarily focus on operational matters and day-to-day management. Directors are often involved in routine tasks and have limited strategic oversight. This stage is characterized by a lack of independence and a strong management influence on decision-making. Stage 2, a cooperative board. So as boards evolve, they transition to a cooperative stage where directors start participating in strategic discussions, and providing input on key decisions. However, there may still be a degree of deference to the CEO, and the board's role is more advisory than actively overseeing what-year management. Cooperative board. So now we have, when we start, I remember when we were starting RCM, the directors were teaching, who were more of operatives, were doing operational matters. But of course, as we grow, of course, we'll have now a situation where some directors are able not to stay outside there. Some of them have been gone outside the country, right? They join board meetings online, right? So in this case here, basically, we are able to offer what here? We are able to offer advisory as compared to actively getting involved in the company's management. So we start divorcing ourselves. Stage number 3, we have the governance board. In the advanced stage, boards become governance focused. Directors take a more active role in overseeing and challenging management. Independence now is emphasized because of corporate governance, and there is a clear distinction between roles of the board and executive management. Governance, boards prioritize strategic planning, risk management, and accountability. Describe 3 power tactics with reference to the given statement. Describe 3 power tactics. It's in that question. The types of power tactics. So for example, we have coercion, where you force people. It's threatening people that if you don't do this and this, I'm going to demote you. So coercive power tactics involve using force, threats, or punishment to influence others. This can include imposing sanctions or negative consequences to compel compliance. Coercion aims to create perception of power through fear or intimidation. Persuasion. Persuasion tactics involve using logical arguments, communication skills, and influence to convince others to accept a particular idea or decision. Persuasion seeks to create a positive perception of power based on the persuader's credibility and reasoning. Then we have what we call coalition building. Coalition building involves forming alliances. Like, for example, the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, that's a coalition. We have the Azimio Alliance, or coalitions with other individuals or groups to collectively influence a decision or outcome. By leveraging the support of others, a person or group can enhance their perceived power and influence within the organization. If you did like that, then you would have gotten, in this case here, all the marks there. So when I come in my next session,